Welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive on Ratan Tata,
Oh, interesting.
the man who, really took India's Tata Group and made it global.
Yeah.
And we've got a really fascinating mix of sources for this one.
Yeah, okay.
Articles from Fortune India, Al Jazeera,
Right.
insights from the Tata Group itself, even some background from Wikipedia. Kind of the whole gamut.
So it's a chance to really get beyond just those quick headlines,
Right.
and really understand how this one leader, really reshaped not just a company, but in some ways kind of like India's image
Yeah.
on the world stage,
And it's interesting because he almost wasn't in this position at all.
Really?
This wasn't some guy who started out, dreaming of being, this titan of industry. It's a very interesting path he took.
Okay, so not your typical straight shot to the top kind of story.
No.
Interesting. So was he born into privilege? I mean, the Tata family was already a major force in India, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
But his upbringing is really interesting. He was raised by his grandmother,
Oh, wow.
and she was quite a character. Lady Navajbai Tata
Okay.
ran a very tight ship, known for being very strict, but also her deep love for her grandson.
Oh, wow.
So you can kind of see how that instilled both discipline
Yeah.
and a very strong sense of responsibility
Right. Yeah.
from a very young age.
It's even just hearing that, you can imagine how that shapes a person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then he's drawn to America.
Okay.
He studies architecture at Cornell
Oh, wow.
and almost stays in Los Angeles.
Really?
Can you imagine,
So he's
Ratan Tata designing California homes?
almost an Angelino.
It's a very strange thought.
It is a fascinating what if.
It is. But, life has a way of changing your plans, and
Right.
his grandmother's health starts declining.
Okay.
Brings him back to India.
Right.
And even then, he doesn't immediately jump into the family business.
Oh, so what does he do?
He actually gets a job offer from IBM,
Wow.
which in the 1960s, that was the big deal.
Yeah. I mean, that really says something about his talent, Yeah, IBM wanted him. That's
But it wasn't meant to be.
okay.
J.R.D. Tata, his predecessor at the Tata Group, kind of steps in and says, nope, you're a Tata, you're working for the family.
No choice.
Yeah, talk about pressure, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean.
But even then, it's not like he's, immediately made the CEO or anything.
Oh, okay.
He starts at Tata Industries, and from what I'm reading, he faces some serious doubts.
Really?
Yeah, he's young. He's seen as untested.
So how did he go from, facing all this doubt to leading Tata on this incredible global journey?
Right.
That's what I want to know.
What I'm curious about, too.
Well, I mean, you kind of can't separate his journey from, the backdrop of India at the time, right?
Right.
1991, the year he takes over as chairman.
Right.
Pivotal moment.
Huge.
The country is undergoing this massive economic liberalization, opening up to the world after decades of socialist policies.
That's a huge change.
Huge change. And that's where his vision really comes into focus.
Okay.
Because while other Indian companies are, scrambling for protection from foreign competition,
Right.
Tata, under his leadership, starts thinking differently.
Yeah.
And it's not just when liberalization hit. He was already pushing this think global philosophy internally.
Interesting.
It's he saw the writing on the wall before anyone else.
Yeah.
And this wasn't just talk. I mean, he backs it up
Right.
with action.
With action, some of the acquisitions he went after, they were really audacious.
Yeah, what? Give me an example.
So, 2000, Tata buys Tetley Tea.
Tetley Tea. Wow.
This wasn't just, an Indian company going global.
Right.
This was acquiring a beloved British brand.
Okay. Yeah. That's a statement.
That's a statement, right?
Yeah.
But if Tetley raised eyebrows, the Chorus Steel acquisition in 2007,
Okay.
that was on a whole other level.
Yeah. How say?
We're talking billions of dollars.
Wow.
A massive Anglo-Dutch company.
Were people holding their breath on that one?
I think there was a lot of skepticism.
Yeah.
Especially because it was during a global financial crisis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's not exactly the ideal time to make a big purchase.
Right. And even, the British government wasn't exactly like rolling out the red carpet to help with the financing and all that. But Tata, largely, I think, on the strength of his reputation, pulls it off.
Wow, that's incredible. So they basically buy this steel giant during a financial crisis.
It's pretty amazing. And then just a year later,
that's more than audacious.
They acquired Jaguar Land Rover.
Wow.
Another iconic British brand, but one that, had been struggling a bit under Ford.
Okay.
And I think, again, people were wondering, Tata, known for, producing cars, affordably for the Indian market.
Right.
Can they really turn around these luxury brands?
Right. And what happened?
They did. Fortune India goes into this, and they really focused on, new models. They brought in more efficient manufacturing.
Okay.
And, within a few years, Jaguar Land Rover thriving again.
Wow. That's a testament, I think, to his ability to not just acquire, but to revitalize.
Yeah.
He saw potential when, other people had doubts.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all, global expansion.
Yeah.
He was also really invested in projects closer to home, right? Like projects with a kind of a social impact.
Right, you're talking about the Tata Nano.
Yeah, the people's car.
The people's car, yeah.
Yeah, like the goal was to create the world's cheapest car.
Make car ownership a reality for millions of Indians.
Yeah, exactly. And he was personally invested in this.
Oh, yeah.
Like really in the weeds on this project.
The articles talk about how involved he was in the design.
It wasn't just about profits with this. It was about social change.
Yeah, and it's an admirable goal for sure.
Yeah.
But it also seems like the Nano highlights the challenges of, operating in a country as complex as India.
Yeah.
In
what way?
I mean, they had factory relocations because of protests.
Oh, wow.
There was immense pressure to meet the deadlines.
Right.
Logistical nightmares. And then, of course, you have the whole leaked tapes controversy.
Oh, right. With the lobbyists.
Yeah, those conversations with Nair Radio, which, while he maintained his innocence,
right,
it definitely, cast a bit of a shadow over the project.
Right. It's just a good reminder, I think, that even with, the best of intentions, things can get complicated.
Absolutely. And it plays into this really interesting thing about Ratan Tata and this kind of contradiction, I guess.
What do you mean?
Well, you've got this man making global power plays.
Yeah.
Acquiring these huge, iconic companies.
Right.
And then you read about him, driving himself around in a Tata Nano.
Really?
Living this surprisingly frugal life.
Huh. Interesting. So it's not just the car, it's
everything.
A deeper thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's known for his love of dogs, flying planes, fast cars, these almost playful interests.
Yeah.
But then alongside this image of austerity.
It's interesting. How do you reconcile those two sides of him?
Right.
That's the question that makes him so fascinating, isn't it?
It really is. This juxtaposition of grand ambition, but also this personal humility.
Yeah.
It's almost like he viewed his own personal wealth as separate from his purpose, which was to elevate India on the world stage.
Right.
And to use the Tata Group's resources for good.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, and it really makes you think about his definition of success, right? It wasn't just about the bottom line.
No, not at all.
The Tata Group's own website, it details all of his involvement with the Tata Trusts.
Right.
This incredible network, right? Dedicated to everything from education and healthcare to poverty alleviation, disaster relief.
It's amazing.
And it's estimated that 2/3 of the Tata Group's profits go right back into these philanthropic endeavors.
That's incredible. So you've got these bold business moves, but then this surprisingly, low-key personal life.
Right.
And then this deep commitment to giving back.
It's all these pieces fit together to reveal this very specific picture of the man.
Yeah, and maybe the thread that ties it all together is this sense of purpose.
Right.
This belief in using his position to really lift others up.
Yeah.
That's what drove him to expand Tata globally, to invest in projects like the Nano, to dedicate so much to philanthropy.
He wanted to see India thrive.
Yeah.
And he saw that the Tata Group could be a vehicle for that.
And isn't that a powerful way to think about leadership?
It's not just about you.
No.
It's about the legacy you leave behind.
Yeah.
The impact you have.
And he definitely left a legacy.
Yeah, and it extends far beyond, just the business achievements. I mean, he reshaped how people viewed Indian companies.
Globally, yeah.
And redefined what it meant to be a corporate leader in a country that was dealing with like massive social and economic change.
You know, it's interesting. One of the articles mentioned that Ratan Tata once said that like his greatest luxury was building a swimming pool for his dogs.
Oh, I love that.
It's so him, right?
It's such a great anecdote because on the one hand, it's like this personal detail that makes him relatable. Right. But it also speaks volumes about his character, about where his heart was.
It wasn't about the money. It was about, you know, using his resources to bring happiness to others, you know, whether it was his dogs or, you know, millions of people benefiting from the trust.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what he would have made of the world today, you know?
Oh, totally.
The rapid changes, technology, social media.
It's a different world.
This was a man who embraced disruption.
He did.
Challenged the status quo.
Yeah.
What would he be taking on now?
It's a really interesting question to think about.
It is. Ratan Tata's story, I think, it's not just about business. It's about leadership, vision, and the power of, you know, using your success to make a real difference.
It's a conversation that, it goes beyond just, you know, the balance sheets.
Absolutely. And it's one we hope you'll continue long after this deep dive is over.
Thank you for joining us as we explore the remarkable life and legacy of Ratan Tata.